let's get the top 3 waiver wire priorities. Jamie, who do we have? And the threshold we use is 65% rostered. That's anyone below that in CBS Sports leagues, which means on ESPN and Yahoo, those guys are going to be usually like in the 40%. So with that said, who are the top 3 priorities this week?
Gus Edwards is number 1. Now that it's a muddy situation for the Jets, it would have been Michael Carter if they had not made the trade. I'll put Carter 2. And then 3 is pick your favorite Panthers running back. If you're concerned about Chuba Hubbard's ankle, then go with Deontay Foreman. If you're not, then go with Chuba Hubbard.
Dave, your thoughts on the top 3 priorities?
I don't know if there's a slam dunk top 3, but Jamie's kind of got the right idea. I've got Foreman first. I just think he's got the best rest of season appeal, but he's only available in 36% of leagues. He's got Atlanta in 2 of his next 3 games. Chuba Hubbard would be behind Gus Edwards. Gus is next. I think Gus can help you in the short term at Tampa Bay on the short week, and he's got fresh legs, so I like him. Then he's got New Orleans, then the bye, and then Carolina. I'm just wondering, how much will he share? Will he ever get to a place where he's the guy and the number 2 running back is Justice Hill playing just on specific long passing downs? And then what happens if Dobbins comes back? So if you're really looking just short term, yeah, I'd probably put Gus at the top of the list. But if it's long term, I think Deontay Foreman's got the better chance to help you. Carter is behind the Panthers running backs for me. Latavius would be next up after him.
So, man, there's so much to talk here because first of all, we've only discussed running backs. We'll give you some wide receivers and quarterbacks if you have Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, of course. And obviously, we'll give you every position. But running backs are the headliners this week. I don't even know where to start. I think we got to start with the Jets situation here because, Dave, it seems like the James Robinson trade changed a lot for you. Jamie, you moved Carter to number 2 behind Gus Edwards. But, Dave, it seems like you have Carter number 3 now, or 4, actually. Foreman, Edwards, Chuba, Carter. So it seems like this made a pretty big impact for you, the acquisition of James Robinson.
I think it's just a team that wants to be good at running the football, but probably will be less good at it without their best offensive player. Think about what's happened to Michael Carter since, I don't know, maybe since he got recruited out of high school. Goes to North Carolina, was a pretty good prospect coming out, had to share with Javonte Williams. Goes to the NFL, gets drafted by the Jets, has to share with like Tevin Coleman and Ty Johnson. Okay, second season's coming up. He's going to be good. Nope. The Jets go ahead and draft Breece Hall in round 2. They trade up to get Breece Hall as well. Breece Hall gets hurt. Okay, now it's Michael Carter's time to be the guy. And then they trade for James Robinson. I feel like it's just always going to be a case where Carter's going to have to split. I don't see a path for him to be the main guy unless, well, look, there is a path. Robinson has to continue on this downward trend that he's been on since week 4, and or he's got a knee injury, theoretically. If that's a serious thing, he misses time. Okay, then Carter's got to play a lot. So that's all well and good, but this offense isn't great. Their offensive line took another hit. They lost another starting offensive tackle. I don't know how many starting offensive tackles a team can lose in the first like 2.5 months of a calendar, or not the calendar season, but since training camp opened. But the Jets have somehow done it. And it could get tough for Carter. I know he's a great pass catcher out of the backfield. He's working with a quarterback right now that doesn't throw to his running backs very much. So I don't see great upside for Carter. And for however long Robinson's healthy, that's going to be the guy that's going to grind down games in the fourth quarter when they're winning. That's going to be the guy working in short yardage goal line situations. We talk about empty touches, and I think Carter's going to be a victim of that.
Yeah, so in the 4 starts that Zach Wilson's made, running backs have an 18% target share, which I think is okay. If it's all Carter, basically, that'd be fine. If it's Carter and Ty Johnson, that would be, I guess, a problem. Carter's metrics just not nearly as good as they were last year. He was a pretty good running back last year, but has struggled this year. But I would say he has not struggled as much as James Robinson. Jamie, and by the way, you mentioned Zach Wilson not really throwing to his running backs. He's not really throwing to anyone lately. He's barely throwing. But I got to feel like the Jets' fortunes are going to change just without Breece Hall. He's just been such a key player for them. Now, Jamie, what do you think about this? How much of a downgrade was this for Michael Carter? And also tell us, what is James Robinson's value? And then real quick, what is Travis Etienne's value? But yeah, give me thoughts.
Travis Etienne's easy winner. I mean, he's a slam dunk starter week in, week out now. It's just a matter of, is he a number 1 running back or number 2? Depends on the matchups that he's facing. But, he's going to get as much work as he can handle. And that's a great sign for the people who actually invested in him with a 3rd or 4th round pick. You're going to get rewarded handsomely as long as he's healthy. Obviously, this is an upgrade for both of the new Jets running backs, because now Carter gets a chance to play more to whatever extent, because James Robinson is not Breece Hall. So Carter's going to get an opportunity to see the field more than he had been with Hall active. I believe eventually James Robinson will be the better of the 2 Jets running backs. In the short term, Carter will be better because he's the one familiar with the playbook and clearly the one that they're going to lean on for this week. So we'll see what happens coming out of the Patriots game, because most likely, I don't think the Patriots are going to get blasted again like they did by the Bears. However surprising that was, I'm sure they'll reevaluate some things and know that they have to make Zach Wilson uncomfortable and make him throw. Zach Wilson clearly is not Justin Fields, not going to do the same things that Fields did. So I think that Carter has the ability to be a borderline number 2 running back in PPR, flex at best, or flex at worst. Not somebody that's a slam dunk starter, but I would start him over Robinson this week. And Robinson gets an upgrade because, he was getting a little bit phased out, whether that was, again, a result of them maybe trying to keep him healthy and fresh to facilitate a trade. I don't think they were planning to trade with the Jets, but I think that's something that could have been in the works, that they were looking to move him to another team. So that's probably why he didn't play. So this knee injury, I don't know how much we can buy into. He did play 12 snaps against the Broncos in week 7. So I'm going to be excited about Robinson with this move comparatively to where he was with the Jaguars. I'm going to be excited about Michael Carter with this situation because he has a chance to be the lead running back for the Jets if he can prove to be better than Robinson. So both guys get an upgrade.
I'm going to make a case for Chuba Hubbard here as the top guy, just a case, not saying that this is what I do, but I think he's going to work more on passing downs than Deontay Foreman. He was kind of their 3rd down back. It wasn't quite clear. They both ran similar amount of routes, but these 2 guys, Foreman and Hubbard, combined for 12 carries in the first 3 quarters, and then they combined for 12 carries in the 4th quarter in a game that they actually blew out the Bucks.
Well,
and
Hubbard left with an injury.
Yes, and Hubbard had 1 of those 12, and Foreman had 11. Before Hubbard got hurt, Hubbard had 9 carries and Foreman had 6. So it's not even clear. Like if you look at the final box score, you see 15 carries for Foreman, you see 9 for Hubbard. But Hubbard actually was out carrying Deontay Foreman before he left with an injury. And I expect him to be more involved in the passing game. And I expect that to be a more valuable role for the Panthers going forward, because I still think they stink. I think they're one of the worst teams in football. Not defensively, but overall, because their offense is going to be so bad. So that's I'm going to make the case for Hubbard, to me, over Foreman. And everybody's got flaws. Like Gus Edwards just doesn't catch the ball, and now he missed what was listed as a practice yesterday. Well, they didn't practice, but they have a short week, and he's got this returning from a knee injury. And the way they use J.K. Dobbins, this makes me like a little nervous of what they're going to do with Gus Edwards this week. Everyone's got flaws. Everyone's got flaws here. So I think Hubbard's got a case. You like Foreman the best, Dave. I mean, it is kind of interesting that there's not a consensus here anyway.
So I like Foreman the best from the perspective that he can help you the most the rest of the season. And you're right about Hubbard being the passing downs guy. He played all 8 of their 3rd and 4th downs through the first 3 quarters because he got hurt early in the 4th quarter. So he's going to be that guy. Foreman will be like what I talked about with James Robinson, but a little bit more so. He's going to be the short yardage guy for Carolina. How many times will they be in short yardage situations? Probably not that many. He could be the running downs guy on top of it. And I'll tell you what, he had a couple of really nice runs. The offensive line did a really nice job for him. It's kind of funny how it all happened, and that it happened against Tampa. And I do think a lot of the blame should go on the Bucs defense. I think they made the Panthers maybe look a little bit better. The concern that I have for Gus, I already mentioned it. J.K. Dobbins could be back eventually. What does that do to Gus's work? What does Lamar do to Gus's work? Huh?
That's not till week 12, though.
Right. He's a short-term fix. If you're looking for someone just to get you by.
You say short-term, that's 5 games.
Right. Well, 8, 9, 10. He's got a buy in there. It's 4. I think that Gus is still going to be the guy if you need a short-term. If you're looking more long-term, it's Deontay. That's what I said.
Yeah, I'm with you, Adam. I would take Hubbard over Foreman too. I think, if Foreman looked great and hopefully can continue to do this, but I feel like exactly what you said, they're not going to be in those situations very often. And Hubbard looked better than him in the beginning part of the game. His role in the passing game should continue. And if you told me right now that Hubbard's got no issues with the ankle, it's easily Hubbard over for me.
Do you view any of these players as must-start options going forward? Not necessarily for this week, but
Gus is a slam dunk in non-PPR.
I think it's kind of by default, right? Because there's not a lot of running backs.
No, it's because of what his role is on this team. I mean,
yeah. No, I get it.
With Dobbins,
and I like Gus a lot this week too.
Are you nervous about
what
I said about Gus Edwards, the short week?
I don't think so, because what we saw from Dobbins in his first action coming off of the PUP list was they were very, very cautious with him. They were not the same with Edwards.
I think they were not super cautious. Well, I thought, it was the first game back they were cautious with him?
With Dobbins?
Yeah. I thought it was the second game back. Okay.
Now, the short week, yes, that could be if he has any issues, but we haven't seen anything aside from what the injury report is. But as you noted, which is always the case on a short turnaround, they list almost everybody, every team,
right,
with these designations that have some sort of issue.
What was it on Monday? What was the designation?
It was limited because they just have to give a report that's not accurate because they don't practice.
You know what? I think that's even better news, because if they had listed him as someone who wouldn't have practiced, if they actually had a practice, that might have been like a little bit of pause. But the fact that they said he would have been limited if he had practiced, coming off of what he's come back from, I'm kind of excited about Gus this week.